Thank you. So that's actually perfect because we are actually not building robots. And I hope by the end of the talk you understand why. But let's start with something that is very, very magical. So imagine you're in the spaceship and you're landing on a new foreign planet. And what you're seeing is this crazy technology that is millions of years ahead of anything you can build. Well, that's essentially biology in our bodies. And that's what's so fascinating, because we are a technology that is way far ahead of what we will currently be able to build. And we are all fascinated by artificial intelligence. But this tiny sliver here is how long it took nature to design intelligence. And comparably, this is how long it took him to design bodies. So bodies, this capability of interacting with the world in a way that you survive it, is essentially a wonder. Come on. And it's truly something that we should marvel at and try to understand, because imagine what could be if you could have a second one. What would be if you can have a second body? Well, if you can jump between the bodies and you can have your brain detached from it, you could be in many places at once. So 1 second you could be at home doing, I don't know, your laundry or not. Next second, you're somewhere in the US enjoying a beautiful view, and then jump into give a factory tour on the other end of the planet. Like, if we could truly delocalize ourselves from our bodies and jump between them, we could be anywhere and in many places at once. Now, what if we not only could have several bodies, but we could keep existing as those bodies? What if we could exist much, much longer? We could see our grandchildren grow. Something that is currently not possible because we're just not living long enough. We could build spaceships and we could fly to faraway planets. So we've all saw this picture that is it just came out. And what you're seeing here, all those galaxies and points in there, it's about as big, if you put out your finger like this, and you imagine a grain of salt on top of your finger, this is how much of the sky you've covered. So every grain of salt is another sky filled with galaxies and places we haven't been yet, and we want to be going over time. But we need to be super, super patient to get there. What we basically need to live indefinitely, we actually have to build this future. So to become part of it. And this is Devantro. Developing anthropomimetic robot bodies. That's where the name comes from, because that's a big vision, where we're going to go eventually. And with this, we are probably the only company on the planet that is able to make time. Now, let's get started and take our first step to truly create a company out of this big, big vision. And what we're building is something entirely new. It's not robots. We're not building robots, we're building Robodies. So Robodies are second bodies that can teleport you anywhere on the planet. So this is my co-founder, Alona. And just for the concept, like if you go to the metaverse, this is her avatar. And through this avatar, she's being recognized and she interacts with the metaverse. Now, what if she had a real avatar that she could physically be wherever on the planet? And exactly that's Robodies. So what you do is you put on a VR headset, and you see, you hear, you talk, you work, you hug, you experience the world as if you are physically there. And tech-wise, it's a bit like FaceTime, except that it uses your whole body, and it's not just a video feed. And it can create value for you in different ways. So imagine you have many Robodies all over the planet that you could, like a Drive Now, just share and jump in. You could be anywhere, at any point in time. Or if you have one of those at home, you can invite anyone instantly to your home. Now you could have a concert by Beyoncé, for example, just for you. And she wouldn't travel to you maybe, but maybe she just put a VR headset and does it just for you. Or you might get this beautiful, wonderful cappuccino that your favorite barista at the other end of the planet makes for you, and you could have it every morning because he can't travel to you, but he can teleport to you. Or once we get older and we're in need of care, you could have caregivers look after you and make sure that you're always safe. Now, what we are building at Devantro is the first avatar platform. It comprises of a metaverse platform, because with the VR world, you jump into the metaverse and from then back into the real world, which is sort of the metaverse, which is a software platform that brings all of it together. And then we have a core technology, which is called Robody Core, which is the same for all the Robodies on the planet. That means all of them will be compatible, no matter how they look like, and no matter what they're being used for at the use case. And then, like an avatar that you can design and make look the way you want it to look, we build shells around it. So every Robody avatar will look different. And eventually, we will have other third parties providing services. So everyone can provide whatever service they feel like remotely through this Robody. Now, of course, this needs use cases. This is a conceptual platform. How do you implement it? Well, we see 3 consecutive use cases that exponentially grow on top of each other. And the first, we call it Atelier, and I'll be talking in a second about it. But the most important one is care. Because care it's a huge problem, and we have to jump into it right after this. And then the last one is basically this vision we all have, when can I have my robot at home that does all the stuff I don't want? Well, if you had a Robody in your home for a while, over time we can design an AI, like an AI brain for your Robody that does all the stuff you don't want to be doing. But to get there, we need the Robodies first. Now, this platform is common to all the Robodies. So it's one big platform that's always compatible. The hardware is common and scales as we're growing, but the use cases and how it looks different. In the luxury case is going to be absolute luxury items, very, very unique, like the Bugatti of robotics. But in care, it needs to be relatable. It needs to be safe. People need to have to like it. It needs to be robust enough. So when someone that has dementia starts throwing feces at it, it's okay, and we can just clean it. And then eventually it will be like buying a car. You buy a car, you choose the color, you have some features, and that's what you get. So now, use case, care. Care is truly a massive problem, and it's a very weird problem, because everyone has the super high standards of how we want care to be, but the reality is totally different, and we think we can really start matching those standards. And we start with a problem that many of you either already face or definitely will be facing sometime in your life. And it's when suddenly someone in your life, that's not you, is in need of care. And you have to take care of it. You have to organize care for that person. And you have already a full and busy life. Like we're all doing all so many things. And now suddenly your mom or your grandmother that's 500 kilometers away, she needs help. Well, what do you do? It's really a difficult problem. And there's no really good solutions so far that don't going to take you a lot of effort. Well, what if you had a service? Basically, you call us up, and we're like, okay, I want a Robody to care. What happens is a Robody moves in, and then you as a relative, you can take care yourself. You can visit at any point, no matter where you are. You just jump in and be like, hi mom, let me make a coffee for you. How are you today? Or, and of course this is important, because this is a robotic system after all, we can do a lot of automatic detection surveillance. We can make sure that if the person falls or whatever happens, we notice it and we have a remote operator that checks in and checks, okay, is everything okay? But because this can be very, very sensitive, it's a lot better than any other solution out there with like a button that can fail. This cannot fail because we always have a human that checks in if it's actually a problem. And then, of course, we will have professional caregiving services. So it's a remote nurse that jumps in, is available whenever you need it. And then we'll have extra nurses that we organize, because some things, they're just too complicated to do via Robody. And you still need humans to do this. But knowing when you have to do it and when this help is needed is really crucially important. And that's something we can do from remote. And eventually you can have your doctor jump in, you can have your physiotherapist jump in and make sure that you actually do your daily 20 exercises. Although we all know we don't want to be doing it. But they come, say, okay, fine, I'm going to do it. So essentially what we're proposing is the first truly very free, decision-free, peace of mind solution to care. It is truly 24/7. It is really staying at home. You can stay at home over time. It is creates a day structure for the person in need of care. It is 24/7 emergency covered, so you really don't have to worry that, because you know if you get a call from Robody Cares as a relative, you know it's urgent. And other than that, you'll never get a false alarm. And it's truly just as much effort for you as you want. And at the price, eventually, it's just as expensive as a living caregiver or a care home, but at home. You can be staying where you want to be staying. This also works as a business, because we're, in essence, saving around 30% of the manual work that's to be done. This becomes actually a quite interesting business, especially then at scale. And it's not just me talking about this. We've been out there and really talking to people that have this problem, and we found every type of stakeholder in agreement that this is a good solution and a truly novel way of approaching this. We talk to care services, we talk to elderlies, and I'll show you a picture, it's amazing. We talk to informal caregivers, we talk to care insurances, and we talk to places that educate new caregivers. And they're already signing up for this, because they're like, okay, this is a truly valuable solution. And we also funded by state money, because this is a large societal problem we have to solve. Now, it's also a huge market that we have to go into, but it's something that it's difficult. You need to scale it. We can't spend a few $100,000 on each Robody, so we need a way of getting there. And of course, we could be venture funding it, but maybe we could find someone that wants to pay for this nonetheless, already from the beginning. And this is what we call Robody Atelier. So basically, this is a product for those who've made it in your life, and they truly want to distinguish themselves, right? So you already have a few houses, you have like your garage, you have the 50 Rolls Royces, a few Bugattis. It's a few thousand customers like this on the planet. It's a big market. Now, if you truly want to be unique, what if you could be unique? You have an avatar that's just you, and wherever it shows up, everyone knows this is you. But it's not just you as a person, it's you as this ultimate luxury item. And it solves a lot of problems for those who have everything. Because in the essence, at the end of the day, they have 3 problems left. You have no time, because it doesn't get more. Your health, because once you don't have health anymore, everything falls apart. And you want to leave a legacy. And for each of those, Robody Atelier provides a partial solution. Because no matter how successful you are, you still need to travel to wherever you need to go. So even if you travel by private jet, it's going to save you a little bit of time, but you're still traveling. Well, unless you have a Robody. Or why wait for specialized services if you could have them sort of instantly available in your home? And eventually, we all grow old, and we're all going to be in need of care. But today, all these care solutions, they're designed such that they shout out at the world, I need care. Why? They shouldn't. It should be hidden. It should be a way of saying, okay, Robody Care is available through your Robody, but nobody needs to know. Just you. It just helps in the background, but you don't need to tell anyone. And eventually, once you've lived a very full life through and with Robody, and we've been recording all your experiences, we can create a virtual avatar for you to exist indefinitely in a virtual world. So owning one of the first of this truly revolutionary new pieces, this is going to be a true game changer, and that's how you create legacy. Now, luxury in itself, it might sound weird, but it's actually a pretty sizable market. So globally, it's around a 200 billion market. And it works ideally for us to start there to enter care. Because care as a thing that has a lot of, it's truly valuable for society, creates an excellent motivation for philanthropic activity. And it's now the right moment to go for Robodies and not for robots. Because autonomous intelligence, simply not there. Remember this bar. It's so difficult to create these things that can interact with the world. We don't know how to do this yet as roboticists. And we're going to need the data to get there. And Robotic Cares will be collecting this kind of data. We see a lot of acceleration in robotics, so it's really getting a lot easier to build it. We have 5G and connectivity, so we can truly connect any two places on the planet. And we'll be like the first one that brings the metaverse back into the real world. Now, we of course tested it, and you can try it out yourself. You can come over to the front, and you can put on the VR headset, and you can experience how it feels to teleport yourself. Well, not very far here, it's just a few meters, but it's still actually pretty cool if you look to the left and you see yourself standing over there. And it's like, okay, this is me, but wait, it's really interesting. You have to try it. And we tried it with many, many people. Way more than 100 people have been first-time operators for this. And it takes us on average about 2 minutes to train. So after 2 minutes, you just feel at home in it. It's so easy. We're doing this with kids, and I'm really looking forward to tomorrow and Sunday, where we have tons of kids trying this out again. And we're like, hi, Dad. This is me as a Robody. And we've tried it also with elderlies, and they just loved it because they realize that this is a way of having someone with them 24/7, even if they're critical initially, and say, I prefer having a human. Now, who we are, just a few words about us. We are a team that is used to do a lot with very, very few resources. We've built 6 robots that we sold to universities, so it's not the only robot, it's another one in Hong Kong, and then we have a number of those robots that are partial robots that are different universities, like the University of Hong Kong, of Oxford. We did a lot of POCs with corporates. We're just bootstrapping, which allows us to basically, for 8 years, doing the research that's necessary to bring this technology to the world, and doing it full stack. So we built everything. About this Robody over there, we built everything ourselves from scratch. It's truly, we know every piece and part of it, and we have built three full humanoids, like the Robody over there. So I'm Rafael, Alona is my co-founder, and Yuri is our first long-term team member. And we're looking for more people who are excited to make this vision real. Because in essence, we are all wonders. It's amazing how well our bodies work. And even if you sometimes hate them, it's truly amazing. And we are all wonders that in need of other wonders. We need each other. If you want humanity to coexist and have a positive vision of the future, we need other humans. And we need a future full of wonders to be able to really prosper as a society. Otherwise, we're eventually going to die out. So I think the right way of building this is building Robodies. So let's do this. So to care and to bridge time and space. So we're doing this now for 9 years, and we are just at the beginning, but we think now is the time to make this scale globally. Thank you for your time.